Hi, I'm Matthew McCabe. Welcome to Miracle Voices. Each episode, we will be delving into stories of forgiveness, healing, and transformation that have come about from integrating the principles of the book A Course in Miracles. If you want to learn more about A Course in Miracles, visit www.acim.org. If you'd like to visit the Miracle Voices site, please go to www.miraclevoices.org. If you feel inspired to make a love offering, please visit us at miraclevoices.org/donate. All donations go to support the work of the Foundation for Inner Peace, the publisher of A Course in Miracles. Now here's your program. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Miracle Voices. This is your co-host, Matt McCabe, here with my co-host, Tam Morgan. Tam, how you doing today?
Doing great today. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Excited for our guest, Dov Fishman. Dov, welcome to Miracle Voices.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Dov, where are you sitting right now in the world? Give us a sense of geography.
About 10 miles north of Manhattan, in the New York City area.
Oh, good.
Right along the Hudson River. Kind of live in Hastings on Hudson. It's like a suburb of New York.
Nice little area.
Yeah.
Dov, how did A Course in Miracles come into your life?
That's a great question. I took S before I ever heard of the Course in Miracles. You're probably familiar with S since it started really out in Mill Valley, out there in that neck of the woods. And a guy named Stuart Emery, who was Werner Erhard's partner in starting S. He kind of got booted out of S by Werner, and he was kind of living in his home in Tiburon. Happened to live right next to Jerry Jampolsky, and he was going through some dark depression because of his being kicked out of S. And Jerry said, "Hey, listen, this thing I did it, and it really helped me a lot. Maybe it'll help you." And he did the course. I'm talking about Stuart, for about 6 months, and then he called into New York and said, "Can I come and meet this woman, Helen?" And he met her, and then he gave a meeting for a new thing that he was about to start, which was nothing like S. And 200 people showed up in New York City. I was one of them. I mean, after all, it's Stuart Emery. He probably has something to say, but what could be better than S, right? So he says, I met this woman, Helen Schuckman, and I spent the whole day with her. But I knew in the first 20 minutes, she couldn't possibly have written this thing called A Course in Miracles. And I'm sitting in the back row. I shout out, "Well, if she didn't write it, who did?" And honestly speaking, I don't know if I ever heard his answer or not, because people were kind of shouting and all that. And someone right next to me whispered in my ear and said, "It doesn't matter who wrote it. Just get the book, start with lesson 1, and go as far as you can." And I want you to know that's exactly what I did.
Okay.
Wow.
And did you notice your life changing at all, Dov?
At first, I just thought it was a book.
Yeah.
And I've read a number of books, and it was just another book. And then all of a sudden, I came to lesson 189, paragraph 7, which many of you know is one of the most wonderful paragraphs in the course. "Simply do this, be still. Don't take with you one thought of who you are, who God is." And I get down to the part where it says, "Forget this world." Well, okay, I can do that. Then it says, "Forget this course." I said, "Huh? What do you mean forget this? You give me a book, 1,300 pages, you tell me to forget it?" And all of a sudden it came to me, this course is not just another book written by another ego. There's something about this that comes from beyond this world. All of a sudden, the course became alive for me. That's where all of a sudden things started to look completely different.
And Dov, do you have a forgiveness story you'd like to share?
Yeah, my forgiveness story was, I was married twice, and my first marriage was my forgiveness story. When I was young, I came from a middle income family, and I said, well, I want to have money, so I got to find someone who has money, and I enjoy sex, so I want somebody who who also enjoys sex. So I found the person. I was only 21 years old, and I got married at 21, thinking that I got everything. And then on my wedding evening, my wedding night, my first wife said to me, "Now that we're married, you probably don't want me to do this anymore." And my ego said, "Well, if you don't want to, I'll find someone that does." And I'll be honest, I made a wreck of my first marriage, which lasted 10 years, and, uh, and I knew I had been total ego at the time. I was just a pure ego, just trying to fulfill whatever it is that I wanted, and didn't matter, who got hurt in the process. And, of course, my wife basically left me after 10 years. It's amazing but we had 2 children, so we stayed married for 10 years, and, she was always, on the outskirts. She never really, she liked the people that she liked my second wife. She said, "You're really doing wonders with with David, he's a much better person now." And this kind of went on for many years. My second wife did pass away after 40 years, just 5 years ago. I had the chance to go to my grandson's engagement party, and of course, Carol was there, and we had a chance to just talk to each other for an hour. And after an hour, it came to me. I said, "But Dov, this is a wonderful time to tell her how you really feel about the first marriage." And I did. And I told her, I was such a jerk, that I so apologize for being the person I was during that time. I was just like a different person than I am now. And she started weeping. Tears came to her eyes. Said, "That was the most beautiful thing you could have ever said to me." She said, "I always wondered, and that was a moment of forgiveness for me, which was so beautiful and pure. Thank you. Thank you for asking the question.
Mm.
That's great. And it just kind of lifted from there and things changed?
Yes, yes, yes. We went on to the wedding, which was last summer, and I have a good relationship with my first wife.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And, how old were you when you actually got the course?
I was it happened in 1977. I was 37 years old. Uh,
So you were already deep into your second marriage.
uh, I had just, as a matter of fact, I met my wife in '78, right after, and she was just like me. She had done S, and she went on to the graduate courses called leading a guest seminar. I was I did the same thing, which was like an advanced course. To lead Werner's seminars, you had to get your ego out of the way. So she was my second wife, Suzanne, became my co-teacher in a group that I started leading in the year 1980 in Greenwich Village, and she was my co-teacher for 8 years.
Mhm. And did she end up doing the course with you?
Oh yeah, yeah, she was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was my co-teacher. Yeah, she was doing the course with me.
I'm sorry. I thought she was a co-teacher in the EST graduate.
No,
My mistake.
No, once I found the course, I never looked back again. Once I found the course, I never looked back. Mm.
So did you bring the course to her?
Yes, yeah. She was very interested in what the course was, of course. I mean, uh, uh, looking backwards, we had a marriage that was literally made in heaven. It was created in heaven. She was meant to be my life companion, and she was my mighty companion.
What did she pass?
She passed in February of 21. She had a 8-year bout with uh, cancer.
Wow.
She was a very strong fighter, but at the very end, it wasn't the cancer. It was all the pills that you take to get rid of the pain that probably did it.
Right. Huh.
Dov, I notice on your email signature you have a little quote. It says, "Be grateful for your triggers. They reveal our mistaken beliefs." And then you list a few triggers: stress, upset, fear, anger, conflict, complexity, grief, lack, loss, relationships. And I like overthinking, which I definitely overthink things. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. In my teachings of the course, I recognize that the things that upset us are exactly what it is that we came here for, to unlearn those particular things. So instead of avoiding it and saying, why is this happening to me and all that, which is the ego's way of looking at anything, uh, be grateful that all of a sudden, you hit a bump in the road and it tells you, whoa, slow down. There's something here for you to learn. So I see the world as a classroom, and we're all here to learn lessons. I mean, that's right out of the course. And the lessons aren't about the people that treat you lovey-dovey, and, it's Ken Wapnick. The very first quote, I have a list of 136 Ken Wapnick quotes, but the very first one, I heard him speaking in 1981, I think it was, in Manhattan on the Upper West Side. He used to speak in people's apartments. He says, if you really want to do this course on the fast track instead of at a snail's pace, he says, don't hang out with the people who make you feel lovey-dovey. That's not where your lessons are. Hang out where it's a little uncomfortable. Now, the course uses the word discomfort, and it is saying the same thing. You can have experienced some discomfort. Of course, if I was with someone who just yesterday said, you are a liar. So, at first the word liar, makes us react. You calling me a liar? But actually, you actually see that it really means nothing. As you get into the metaphysics of this course, which I'm now teaching on the metaphysics, there's no one outside of you. I mean, you asked him to be there as part of your dream, so he can call you a liar, so you can be peaceful and smile and say, okay, there's nothing really here.
It's
I like that.
wonderful. My mother used to say one thing, and then she'd say something totally different, and sometimes it would drive me crazy. And I noticed it, and I started to feel, wait a second, that's just it's not true. She would tell me something, she'd tell someone else something totally different, and it would get back to me. And it's like, why aren't you telling me the truth? It feels like you're lying to me. And she looked at me and she said, ever hear of the word ambivalent? And she said, I'm often of two minds. And it was such a good reframing
Yeah.
for me. it helped bring the course, which I was not practicing at that point, into a different light of, oh, this is just the ego bouncing around. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I think when someone calls one a liar, we can either get super self-righteous about it, and I am not, or like, I wonder what I did say that contradicted what I once said. Or, like, where is the ambivalence in this dualistic world that we can be in, or believe that we're in?
Yeah. I met your mother. She's very important in my life. Back in '79, she was teaching at the. It was one day teaching at the East Coast Holistic Health Center. I think that's the name on Fifth Avenue.
Mhm.
And first of all, through her, I happened to meet the woman who invited me to teach my first course group in Greenwich Village. But at lunchtime, she invited me to take a walk up Fifth Avenue to have lunch with her and her. It was someone that she knew from college. I think it was her roommate. I'm not sure. I can't think of her.
My mother knows probably Hilda Brown, maybe? Was it? I
Oh
don't remember.
yeah, it could have been her. That's
Yeah,
right.
because she and
Yes.
Hilda taught, like, classes about, parasensory stuff together.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
So the 3 of us were walking up Fifth Avenue, and this is like '79, and I'm just into the course, I don't really know the course that well, and it's lunchtime, and we get to just across from the, New York Public Library on 39th and 5th, and this guy comes around the corner hitting another guy over the head with a 2 by 4,
Ooh.
and the guy falls down on the ground, and of course it's lunchtime, and I'm walking up with your mother and Hilda, and I figure, well, I got to do something, I'm not gonna just watch it. So I ran over. Of course, there was a whole crowd. It's lunchtime, and they really didn't need me. So I looked for your mom, and she was like a block away walking up Fifth Avenue, and I caught up, and I said, "Well, I think the person's gonna be okay." She says, "Oh, they've been doing that for a million years, back and forth, him hitting one guy and then the other guy hitting him." And and she was really saying it was really nothing.
What is this? Is this like street theater or is it actually
Well
something
well
real?
well well, she was, in other words, she wasn't taken back at all. I was taken back by the physical act, and she said it was really nothing. They've been doing back and forth with each other for a million years. In the last lifetime, it was the guy who got hit who hits the other guy.
Oh,
That
okay.
that's what she said to me.
Kind of turns it into a cartoon.
Yeah, right. So, I realized there's a lot about the course that I really don't know yet.
That's funny.
Dov, is there a particular course quote that you find helpful that you go back to over and over again?
Okay, my favorite quote, I have a lot,
Yeah.
but my favorite is in lesson 189, excuse me, lesson 135, paragraph 18. That's the longest lesson of the course. If I defend myself, I'm attacking myself. That's the lesson that Ken Wapnick calls the atonement lesson. And after 6 paragraphs of "A healed mind does not plan," from 11 through 17, in paragraph 18, which I call Chai, 18 Chai, he says, "What can you not accept if you knew that everything that seems to happen, all events, past, present, and even to come, are gently planned for you by one whose only purpose is your good?" I mean, that goes along with, I have my mantra lesson is lesson 25, which just says, "I don't know what anything is for." And it says the same thing in the first paragraph. Spirit says, Hey, Dov, everything here is for you.
Mhm.
Nothing here is against you.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite paragraph. Yeah.
Dub, since you teach classes,
Yeah.
is there anything that you remember with all your students of all these years that was like one of the most moving course stories you ever heard?
Wow, the most moving course stories I ever heard. I
It's hard.
think,
It's hard when you don't have a trigger or something to get you to remember. But I just wondered if you've taught for so many years and so many people. I wonder if there was just one particular one that went, "Oh my God, that really gets me."
well, right now I'm teaching a course. In fact, it starts next week on a Thursday. I just finished a course on any one of these 22. Any one of these 20 lessons is the whole course, which Jesus says in Review 6. Any one of these 20 lessons. And I thought he was talking about lessons 181 to 200. And just as I was about to start the course, Spirit speaks to me and says, he's not talking about going back and reading all those pages. He was talking about 201 to 220, where there's only a few words, but every one of those 20 lessons start with and end with I am not a body. I am free. I am so he says it 40 times. And that's the metaphysics of this course. So right now my next course is called Only Acceptance and Applying the Metaphysics Do We Demonstrate Our Vigilance for Love and the Kingdom. And I've come to realize that, you're either idolizing the things of this world, you're putting that on the altar to God. You find in I think it's chapter 2, section 3, the altar to God. You're putting things from this world and you're worshiping things of this world, or you are into the metaphysics, which I am not a body. Like before I came here, I said, "Should I shave or not?" I said, "Hey, Dov, what are you doing? You coming? You actually think that looking good means something?" So, almost everything I teach, I learned first.
Mhm.
Well
And
said.
and it like, going back to my question, there's nothing in your teaching that you've heard from someone else that brought you incredibly deeper, impactfully deeper. Because I get that through people on the podcast.
Well, okay. Uh, who is I can't think of his name. Our good friend who just passed away, who was the president, your partner,
Dr.
Bob,
Bob
yeah, Dr.
Rosenbaum.
Bob,
Right.
Dr. Bob. All right.
Mhm.
So I had heard for many years the story of when the elders were meeting over in the Tiburon area or Mill Valley. There was this one thing where the two sides of the room were kind of in disagreement about something that was in the course, and someone turned to Bill and said, "Hey, Bill, you've been very quiet. What is it that you think was really going on here? I mean, don't you have something to share?" And Bill thought about it for a moment or two, and then he said, "You know something? I would just take this page and tear it right out of the book." Because anything that separates the equal sons of God is not even worth discussing. Now, I had heard that from Marianne, a good 20 years earlier,
Mhm.
and that's the way I accepted this course until Dr. Bob came on the scene, and he gave a thing which I attended, and it was time for Q&A, and I said, I mean, you were very, obviously Bill was his mentor. I said, I heard the story, and I think he obviously heard the same story. And I said, is that what really happened? He tore the page out of the book, and he said, you know something? He says, I wasn't there at the time, but knowing Bill the way I do, he was really saying that why bother discussing anything in this book at all, because you're going to find the same thing in the next page, the next paragraph. It doesn't mean anything.
Mhm.
And that gave me a whole new way of something that I thought that I knew. Yeah, because just tear the page out. No, he's going to say the same thing on the next page.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, it kind of slides in with turn the other cheek. Like,
Yeah,
either way,
that's right.
you
That's
can let
right.
it get to you. But actually, the story is not about the founders and elders being divided. It was actually someone, a course student, coming up and asking Bill two of them. I always saw it as a King Solomon moment, when two women brought a baby up and said, it's mine, and King Solomon said, well, cut it in half, and one mother said no, and he realized that was the mother. Well, this
Yeah.
isn't quite the same story, but actually Bill did tear that page out. It was not the elders, it was two students who were arguing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's
Thank
move
you.
on.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing up that Solomon story. That's like my favorite story. I have two favorite stories from the Old Testament, and one of them is that. In fact, we used to always have a calendar on the wall, and you turn the page, and I couldn't wait until you got to that place where Solomon's holding the baby by the leg, and there's two mothers. That's one of
Yeah.
the great wisdom stories of all time, really.
And the wisdom that translates into this is not proving which one of the two who were arguing was right, but that the truth was so much
Yes.
deeper than either of their arguments. Just rip out that page, okay, then rip out the next page. Then, it's not about that.
Yeah.
And I think that story was iconic for how Bill looked at it. He really was moving through, now forget these words, forget this course, and, go straight to God. And, it was definitely a profound moment in learning, but, everyone brought in their interpretation, including me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear that one a
Thank
lot.
you for reminding me of those biblical stories, which
Yeah.
I was a big Bible student. I think
You know how I knew that?
how.
Just because how you can quote the passages. You quote the course with you know, oh god, I just forgot the word, with
Sections
chapter
and
5, 6, this is a word I know and use all the time, but I've just forgotten it. Yes, where it came from, just as if you were reading, the Bible.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
always
see
found it
it.
impressive. I could never do that, but I always found it impressive when someone knew exactly where it is. Now I have, um, the web edition to help me make that little whatever word I just forgot.
Oh, I love the web edition. Thank you so much for that.
Of course.
Today I was looking up the word altar because I knew it was there, and it takes you right to the perfect place. I cannot imagine my life without the web edition. To tell you the truth. Obviously, I had a pretty good life before the web edition,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I could
I
never
know, but,
give up the web edition.
personally, I've become more addicted to the app because it just, goes
Yeah,
with me anywhere, and I can hear it and
yeah,
interact with it, and it's, the same, like, just technology can be used for good. That's all I can say here on
that's
that
right,
one.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, so grateful for it.
And
Love it.
Dov, what is your favorite comfort food?
Favorite comfort food? Yogurt and fruit.
Okay.
Ooh, I would say that's my partner Peter's too.
Uh-huh.
He makes his own, granola that he adds to it.
Uh-huh.
Martha Stewart.
I make my own creative mixtures too. Sometimes it's raspberries, and sometimes it's bananas, and sometimes it's anything that goes well. And I have my favorite yogurt is honey vanilla Greek honey vanilla yogurt.
Oh.
What fat percentage do you use?
What?
Is it 0% fat, or do you get the 5% fat?
No, well, I don't really watch the ingredients all that much. I really don't. I think that everything is always good. I see, I
Um,
see, I see all things as perfect. Really, I do.
Yeah,
oh,
Dov, do you want to give do you do teachings or lessons with anybody, or do you want to give out your information in any way?
Okay, yeah. I am doing this new course starting at next Thursday, as a matter of fact, at 10:30 Eastern Time. We do everything at acimgather.com. If you go there, you see the schedule and the link to our Zoom, etc. And uh, that's one of my teachings is on the metaphysics of the course, which I say if you're really doing this course, doing the lessons, as Ken Wapnick says, without the metaphysics, this course couldn't help you at all. So the metaphysics is I am not a body. Metaphysics says that dream roles, chapter 29, section 4, that everyone in your life, you have asked them to be there, and then no one can do anything other than the role that you appointed to them so that you can learn the lessons you came here for. That's so important. Like why is this, the ego says, why is this person in my life? Because you asked them to be here. You are the cause. You're the dreamer of the dream. And then, of course, my birthday lessons is 132. That's the one that says there is no world. This is the central thing this course teaches. And my other birthday lesson on a leap year is 133, which is all about I will not value what's valueless. What's valuable belongs to me, and you find that everything that has any value is content, and what is valueless is form. So the metaphysics is really that which is beyond form. So anything that you can count on, or is quantitative, or begins in time and ends in time, has no value to you, the eternal. So people can come for that. And I do have a book called Into Oneness, which came out some I guess 20 years ago. Into Oneness, you find it at Amazon. And it's not a book I wrote, believe it or not. It came from when the internet first started. I was teaching on AOL, which was the only place you could actually have people gather, America online. And I teaching for 2 or 3 years in a place called the Teachers of God, which is the name we gave our room. And a gal named Valinda copied and pasted everything I said, and she took the cream of everything, the things that she really enjoyed, and she turned it into she turned it into a book, and she gave one copy of the book to me, and she took a copy for herself. And then 6 months later, I said, "You know something, Belinda? I think I have a book I want to write." She said, "But David, you already have a book." I said, "I do." She says, "Yeah, I gave it to you for your birthday." I looked at it, and she's right. Everything that I had said over those 3 or 4 years was everything I that I could possibly say in any book. So that
That's
that's
helpful.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. And also, I really love that notion of like you have two birthday lessons, one's for the leap year. That's very fun. I enjoy that. Thank you.
Leap lessons.
Yeah, leap lessons.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, Dov, thanks so much for coming on Miracle Voices and sharing your miracle voice. We really appreciate it.
Very much.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And a quick thanks to Alan Ishak for referring the guest today. Thank you, Alan. Thanks so much for listening today. Please subscribe to Miracle Voices by hitting the subscribe button on your podcast app. If you are enjoying these conversations, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you use. And lastly, please visit us at miraclevoices.org and join our newsletter so we can stay connected. Until the next podcast, I want to leave you with my favorite course quote: "When you want only love, you will see nothing else."